In the foggy streets of Victorian London, in the heart of the East End, a killer stalked the night. His weapon was a knife, his victims women of the streets, and his name, whispered in fear, was Jack the Ripper. Between August and November of 1888, a series of brutal murders shocked the district of Whitechapel. 5 women were savagely killed, their bodies mutilated with chilling precision. The crimes terrified the city, gripped the newspapers, and gave rise to one of the most enduring mysteries in criminal history. Who was Jack the Ripper? Why did he kill? And why, more than a century later, does his shadow still linger over London's darkened alleys? Whitechapel in 1888. To understand the Ripper, one must understand Whitechapel. In the late 19th century, London was a city of extremes. The West End glittered with theaters, palaces, and wealth, but the East End, and Whitechapel in particular, was another world entirely, overcrowded, impoverished, and plagued by crime. Tens of thousands of people crammed into slums, surviving in lodging houses or sleeping rough in alleys. Alcoholism was rampant, and many women turned to sex work simply to survive. Violence was common, but nothing prepared the people of Whitechapel for what was to come. The Canonical Five victims. Historians generally agree that Jack the Ripper killed at least 5 women, though some suggest more. These 5 are known as the Canonical Five. Mary Ann Nichols, Polly Nichols, murdered August 31, 1888. Polly was discovered in Bucks Row, her throat slashed and her abdomen mutilated. She was the first recognized Ripper victim. Annie Chapman, murdered September 8, 1888. Her body was found in a backyard at Hanbury Street. She had been disemboweled, with organs removed, evidence of the killer's gruesome precision. Elizabeth Stride, murdered September 30, 1888. Known as the Double Event, Stride was killed in Dutfield's yard. Her throat was cut, but no mutilation occurred, leading some to believe the killer was interrupted. Catherine Eddowes, murdered later that night, September 30, 1888. Just 45 minutes after Stride, Eddowes was found in Mitre Square. Her body was horrifically mutilated, with her face slashed and organs removed. Mary Jane Kelly, murdered November 9, 1888. The Ripper's final and most brutal victim. In her room at Miller's Court, Kelly's body was mutilated beyond recognition, her flesh almost flayed from her bones. These murders created a wave of panic unlike anything London had seen before. The investigations. The Metropolitan Police, Scotland Yard, and even private detectives scrambled to catch the killer. Yet despite dozens of suspects, endless interviews, and nightly patrols, Jack the Ripper slipped through the fog. Key challenges plagued the investigation. Lack of forensic science. Fingerprints and DNA were decades away. Poor communication. Different police divisions often failed to share information. Crowds at crime scenes. Curious onlookers trampled evidence. The press, meanwhile, fueled hysteria, publishing graphic details and speculating wildly about the killer's identity. The letters. One of the most famous aspects of the Ripper case are the letters sent to newspapers and police, allegedly from the killer himself. Dear Boss letter. Signed Jack the Ripper. This was the first to use the infamous name. Saucy Jackie postcard. Claimed credit for the Double Event murders. From Hell letter. Sent with half of a human kidney, it remains the most chilling. Whether these were truly written by the killer or hoaxes by journalists remains debated. Theories and suspects. Over the years, hundreds of suspects have been proposed. Some of the most notable include Montague John Druitt, a barrister and teacher who died by suicide after the last murder; Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber later confined to an asylum. DNA evidence in recent years has tentatively linked him to the case. Walter Sickert, an artist suggested by crime novelist Patricia Cornwell. Prince Albert Victor, the grandson of Queen Victoria, though most historians dismiss this as conspiracy. Others, doctors, butchers, sailors, and countless others, have all been accused. No single suspect has ever been definitively proven. Why the case endures. Jack the Ripper remains iconic because his crimes combined brutality with mystery. His killings seemed methodical yet elusive. He vanished without capture, leaving behind only fear and speculation. The Ripper case also marks the dawn of modern true crime fascination. Newspapers sensationalized the murders, creating a global media frenzy. The killer's identity became less important than the legend he created, the faceless predator haunting London's fog. Legacy. Today, Jack the Ripper is not just a criminal, but a cultural figure. His story has inspired novels, films, tours, and endless debate. He represents both the terror of the unknown and the failures of early policing. Most of all, he reminds us of the 5 women whose lives were lost. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly were not merely victims in a story. They were human beings, each with struggles, hopes, and lives cut brutally short. Conclusion. In 1888, Jack the Ripper prowled the streets of Whitechapel, killing with surgical cruelty and vanishing into the night. Over 130 years later, his name is still spoken with dread. We may never know who he truly was, but his legend lives on, in history, in culture, and in the eternal question that still chills us. Who was Jack the Ripper?